We've seen a lot of action today, but we're still in that final series before we kick things off to a close as LG picks up the first map over their opposition, and we'll see if they're going to be walking away as victors 2-0, eliminating their opponent, which would be XSET, here for the First Strike Qualifiers presented by Nerd Street Gamers. My name is Bach. Joining me on the broadcast, I've got the dueling Alexes, I've got Lex, and I've got Vansili. That first series goes the way of LG. It got a little bit close there towards the end. There was some opportunity there for XSET. Should we expect a bounce back in this next map, Vansili?
I think so. Even though that I want to give this series over to LG, I don't think it's over yet for XSET, because just purely on how I remember Aaron and Brando when they were playing as Echo 8 on a map like on a map like Bind before, they were doing really good on the attacker side, really playing off the Raze, showstopper to get entries, but that's been kind of gimmicky to start things off. We're talking about way months back here. The game has evolved where maybe things could change, but if they still have Aaron playing as that Raze like they did on Haven, then I think it could still be very doable for this team. We also talked about how Shaisha didn't really have a moment to shine as well with the operator. On a map like Bind, having an operator as Jet, something a little bit more open and long range for him to take advantage of with the operator could definitely help. Oh, sorry, we're talking about LG at this point. So, but XSET, I think, could still have what it takes to be able to bring this into a third map.
I'm not so sure I agree, but I hear you on why I think XSET is still dangerous on Bind. Like, I remember distinctly, specifically the players you mentioned, being tremendous forces for their teams on Bind, and just the way that they were playing it was maybe a little unique.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether or not, you're going to get that kind of a flavor from XSET here, where it's almost like raised eyebrows and impressive plays, versus that is what we saw out of LG, in my opinion anyway, in this last map. And I expect them to continue that. I just think, like, if you're going to be playing at that level and you're going to be playing that consistently across that entire half, and I mean that in, like, I don't mean to sound like they're invincible here, because I think XSET definitely had some openings, as Bach mentioned, into maybe coming back in that game. But I just don't see, now that we've seen KZ start to wake up on the Jet and find, quite a bit of impact towards the end of that game, and some of these other players are getting unlocked. I expect guys like Thief and KZ to just dominate here. That would be my prediction if I was asked for one. But I'm hoping XSET can rebound from that, honestly.
I mean, they still won against Immortals, right? Like 13-7 in the qualifiers too on this map. And when we're looking at maybe something gimmicky or something that maybe changes, when we're looking at we did when he was playing as a Viper, for example, with Mobile Gaming, he was able to contain some good areas of the site just playing B on his own for the defender side. So I don't know if they want to bring out that gameplay again, which I doubt, because XSET is a brand new roster that he's playing with. So maybe they're not ready and used to playing with a Viper as a core yet. But individually is a reason why I still think they have some chances. But as a core, in terms of team versus team, like I said, I still want to give it to LG in the best out of three. I just want a good storyline where we could actually bring this to a third map. But in the end,
you bring up two good points there, Vansili. One, I'm gonna direct this one to Alex as well. That would be Lex. I know I keep saying that. You guys both have Lex. What am I supposed to do? You guys, I shouldn't have put you two together. I made a mistake. Anyway, looking at this next map, what is the magic solution that XSET's going to have to find? Like, what is it that you're going to want to see from XSET when it comes to the map? What is the key to, like, the attacking side, the defending side? Is it hookah control? Is it showers control? Like, what is going to be tantamount to them finding success?
If you had asked me that on Haven, I would have told you shutting down KZ and Thief, really. Like, the two players that I expect to be running around the map finding frags. And Thief was playing out of his mind, of course. He usually does, especially Reyna on Haven. I'm a huge fan of the way he plays it. But KZ was kind of contained for a good portion of that defensive half. I've seen a player like that really light up defensive side of Haven against, like, some of the best teams in North America. You expect him to be a threat, somebody who's really scary. And honestly, kind of flying in the face of what I just suggested, I think he is one of the players that is going to need to dominate here, or not necessarily dominate, but be a force and a factor that maybe XSET did account for on Haven. Maybe I overlooked that aspect of not getting picked off by his operator consistently enough to have that kind of an impact. So I could be wrong here, and I would more than welcome that idea. But I hope that maybe that if I'm XSET, you're asking me about the keys to success for winning the game, I would say shutting down the skill players. Make sure that the Reyna isn't flying up on your flank and getting super aggro early on in the rounds, and deny the Jet the opportunity to really open things up and put it in a 5v4 consistently. So,
Now,
Bind has a lot of those angles too.
One other thing I want to ask you before we jump into the action. What is your opinion on the current situation with Viper? Is she viable? Is she not? Are we going to see more teams picking up Viper? Lex, I'm going to kind of redirect this one to you guys as well while you take things into the map.
Well, I'll say this. I think that Viper is one of the more fun agents to see in a competitive sense. Seeing we did on this map and the way that he was playing it in tournaments past, I think was always super interesting to me, but we won't see it here. And it does make me long for the Viper days of old on We Did, but B play coming out here from Luminosity. Take it away, Van Silly.
That's right. So we will have XSET playing on the defender side to start things off, and LG starting with the map control towards Hookah to start things off. And Aaron has a perfect moment to actually throw this nade up towards the Hookah area to push them out and split out the attack. And look at that. They're getting tagged as they're moving forward, and Aaron Thwyfo, the crossfire setup, holds their ground towards his B side. Now they fall back and wait for the rotation from the rest of the team on a 5 versus 3. This could still give a chance for XSET to actually fall back if they want to, and it seems to be the case. So you're going to leave one towards this B garden just to try to keep them honest and hold their ground towards B, while the rest of them could still fall back if they can. But it seems the decision right now is to just all group up towards the garden and just push with the remaining players out there. If they don't get a kill, they could always TP back to A. If they do get a couple of kills, they could push back into the B
30
side.
seconds
And
left.
by the way, we were told by chat, it's Mada, so we're listening to them. Although it sounds like it's Mada. I don't think I'm going to say Mada every time. So we're just calling Mada at this point as they're pushing inside this B side.
Yeah, and this is, I like the call to re-walk back into B. Thwyfo getting the better of Thief, and now it's a 2-on-5. Highly unlikely that Mata gets it done, and unfortunately he falls. Excellent hold from the defensive side of XSET, and this is a good start. Obviously, winning pistol's a great start. But it's good to win a round. Thanks, Caster. But I really think that XSET, like, speaking back to, I kind of was ranting maybe for a round or two earlier about momentum and how it plays into this MR12 so significantly. You don't need to be perfect throughout 24 rounds here to win, right? I think really when it counts the most is when you are able to easily string rounds together on the defensive side, when you have money in control and your teammates are feeling good, to at least build up the confidence and the ability for everybody on the team to be contributing and making plays. And that's just like a freedom that winning that pistol gives you. It gives you an opportunity to kind of get the free round, the bonus round, whatever you want to call it, build up the bloodlust for fragging and get people in the mood to be playing their defensive positions, in a way that maybe benefits the crossfire, the teamwork, or maybe you have aimers that just want to frag out. And here it is. XSET We Did is who I will single in on here, who's taking the gunfights over there at Showers. Pure cleans up short A. Aaron finishes the round on the Stellar. And there it is. A nice, comfy, clean anti-eco from XSET. And that's exactly what they need to at least get to the point where, everybody on this team is contributing. Because that's really, I think, in most cases, where you have these teams that maybe aren't performing to the level that we expect them to, it sometimes can be boiled down to a strategic level or perhaps a practice and time in. But I think the other side of it is just a genuine good feeling on how your team's performing. And I think this is a must-have for XSET. Moving into a map 2 after losing every other map today.
Yep.
Going up 2-0 feels good.
And also 2 rounds that they won very confidently and calmly, right? The first round, they were okay to give Luminosity to the A side if Luminosity wanted to fall back because they had a camera up on A, and they could just play a retake in the number of with the amount of numbers that they had on a 5 versus 3. That previous round, We did his job. He just danced around the triple box left and right, but gave enough information for his team to just die no matter what, only wielding a ghost, while the rest with the Spectres were able to sweep up with the last kills. So moving into a bonus round, into this round here, you see that they still have that confidence and they have that calm demeanor as they're looking to play aggressively towards the hookah, not afraid to bring the fight back versus their opponents, especially due to the fact that they have Spectres, and also with the position of this camera. Because the camera from Thwyfo is going to see some players, if LG chooses to walk in, and you can play from the window side and shoot them as they cross over. So something that LG has to do is definitely smoke out Hookah. We'll see if they'll definitely do that. It starts off with the jetting inside elbow, and that's Shaija making his way through. The wall bang then onto Aaron, but it's still going to be them coming out with the surprise factor, and indeed they have smoked out the Hookah, which allows them to move inside the B side for LG. Although, it's still a 4 versus 3, with 2 of them low on HP, and a spike yet to be planted. And the Cloud Bursts are about to come out. Brando looking for this kill, wins it, and now they know the last 2 players make that 1 player is at the elbow. KZ on a 3 versus 1, makes the first, goes for the second, but Pure moves in for the trade, and the bonus round continues even greatly now for XSET, as they'll put LG back on an eco, and they have the money on their side.
You're absolutely right. That's a huge round. Thwifo buying so much time with his Cypher setup over there. He only gets 1, but the amount of caution and spam that was dedicated just to clearing him out of that position cost so much time for LG. The refrags come in, the rotations come in, and suddenly they're pinched, collapsed on the B-bomb site. It looked like it might be a clean Luminosity round, but man, my memory escapes me. But whoever was in Hookah right there, turning on the lurk, just heartbreak, just stealing it away. You love to see it.
Yeah, I think it was Brando and Aaron playing there, yeah.
Impressive stuff, and like you said, this is a very comfortable 3-0, and oh my goodness, that hurts. That's your face, Pure. You're gonna want to guard that next time, and walking up to the front of the showers here is KZ, and he does not care. He's going out. Wifo and we did punish, but a Proto responds with a sheriff kill of his own, and suddenly it's a 3-on-3. Bomb plant will go down to the side of Luminosity, and Wifo, making a misstep, but Aaron does answer back. 2v2. This is not completely lost yet for the side of XSET. This retake is still possible, despite the fact that this eco from Luminosity has been so scary in this round so far.
They have to
the
move
fact
quick,
that there's
though.
and there's a Sova ult to deal with as well. So the post plan is just all that more out of your reach if you don't step on it right here. Stellar finds the first. The round is pretty much Luminosity's at this point, but it comes down to the details. Can Brando somehow pull this out? Still technically has enough time, but I just don't see this happening. Mata does find the kill. Sova versus Sova. First one for Luminosity on the board. XSET finally is put to stop.
That's one of the small things mechanically if you're a Sova player or learning how to play a Sova. Sometimes they're like, oh my god, why is he not continuing to shoot the Hunter's Fury or use all 3 beams? Get in the first shot and then just waiting to see if he hears the footsteps of his opponent pushing forward. He does, so he goes for that second beam. Despite only having 2 outs, that's enough to actually hopefully damage the guy on the first shot and then switch over to his weapon to make it a 1 versus 1. Not only that, even if he loses that fight, there's still technically not enough time for his opponent to run back into the site to go for the defuse. So just small things like that on how to play that 1 versus 1 with the ultimate. You don't necessarily need to have the kill with the Hunter's Fury. You still have time on your side on a post-plan situation. And I think one mistake that XSET also did was knowing the fact that you do have a broken buy coming in for LG on that previous round, but you know that the Blade Storm is available for Jet. You can't push forward in these angles where you think that you could win a fight versus Jet, just in case, just around the corner, it's a right click that comes in. And that's exactly what happened there for Shaija to get that first kill onto the showers and also spawn in that second opponent to give more freedom for XSET to move forward from short A, which allowed Proto to get that second kill into the site.
I really like this from LG. They made a bunch of short A and shower presence, and all the while they're mounting up an attack over at Hookah. Obviously, the rotations are there. The Raze hasn't left, but she's completely out of position. Brando has already fallen, so Aaron will quickly collapse as well. And LG just outmaneuvered the heck out of XSET. That was impressive to watch. And it didn't seem at any point that XSET had realized what was going on until it was far too late. And now it's just Wifo in a 1v4. Finds the first one to a Proto. And Mata is low HP, so I won't say this is impossible for him. As a body, he could have ulted, but opting to work this slow, find as many kills as possible.
Oh my god.
NT to him.
Definitely an NT.
Happen.
Because you saw it there, Lex, because the burst shots that he had The first one almost getting the kill, almost a wall bang onto the Omen hiding around the corner of Stellar. Then the second pre-fired shot into the tin can could have connected on his opponent too. And then the third one going to the third guy's wide swinging to the right position. So in terms of game sense, he was looking in a great position to clutch that 3 versus 1 for Thwifo. But when you have 3 guys shooting at you, you just want to be as lucky as you can on the burst shots that you shoot. And unfortunately, Lady Luck wasn't on his side. And it's going to be LG being able to take that round, make it a 3-on-2. And this time the broken economy is going to be on XSET's turn. And because they saw 2 players jump across earlier on, the Cyber Cage just forced them through the teleporter where they're fighting against LG, trying to pin them forward, but a Proto and Thief are still going to work. Aaron's going to be the last one to go, and at least he goes down with the fight. He's able to take down Mata with him, but we are tied up on a 3-3.
That's really interesting. They spot the cross over there towards the B showers teleporter.
Yep.
So, you know, the play is already kind of obvious at that point, but the fact that LG fended that off as well as they did, it's impressive. I will say that I haven't seen a team successfully make that kind of a play in a while.
Yeah.
So the fact that XSET went for it and it obviously didn't pan out, but I love that about Bind is that, you know, those, you know, we'll call them surprises. It's not something we regularly see for whatever reason. But when it does happen, it's almost like, oh my gosh, is this going to work?
Yeah, but most successes usually come from like a run it back as well, which they don't have a Phoenix in their favor for either of these teams.
But all I'm trying to say is that LG had a heads-up play to recognize what was going on pretty early, right? They scouted out the cross, and they're prepared for it. Well played to them. A little bit of hookah control coming out for LG, but still spread across the map. Nothing quite set in stone for the play that they're set to make. That said, we do have a tagged KZ inside of hookah that just ate a shock dart. No ult,
right into it.
No ult, though, coming out from Brando. He's just being very patient with it. Wants to make sure that it's max value. If they do push B, any kind of hookah drop would be shut down immediately. Luminosity knowing this and knowing that the Sova's over there to be, they're gonna be like, hey, why don't we try A instead? We're trying to avoid that Hunter's Fury, and here they are. Stellar getting ready to TP, presumably to Heaven, which there are 3 players over here for XSET. They're well positioned, despite the fact that Pure just over-peaked a bit. But Stellar is now threat number 1 here for Luminosity.
30 seconds left.
It seems like XSET is all too aware, but being aware is not quite enough. They still have to get up here and deal with this positioning. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you're rooting for here, it's a dicey spot for both of them. If he gets a little too antsy, over peaks a bit, suddenly this becomes a 4-on-3. Thief, though, finding Aaron. That's a huge frag. But at least make XSET consider the save, and, well, seems as though they'll do just that.
The 2 showstoppers missed, unfortunately, for both of these teams, where Aaron really wanted to land at least 1 rocket kill, because he was the sole player inside the A site that could have turned things around for XSET on that retake. As you're able to move inside that site, you lost 2 players. There was a nice paranoia that was actually being thrown first, but the person that was peeking right after, trying to get that spot into the showers, was actually killed by LG having the buddy system inside the shower area. But Aaron had to come up with a big kill, and they still lose a player with the attempt to save maybe a second one. No, Thwifo was able to stay alive, thankfully. But just that to say that if Aaron was able to capitalize on 1 kill, that would have maybe forced LG on a pulse plan position, especially with Stellar towards Heaven, to focus towards that area. Players towards the shower side or short A have to try to take down Aaron, and that will give that opening for XSET, to rotate over from the defender spawn to actually play that retake after. But as soon as he falls on that 1 versus 1 battle, close range versus Thief, that's the call to save. And he only saved 2 weapons on that, and it's going to be a broken body into this round.
Right. Another default coming out here for Luminosity. You know what? And not only just the fact that Pure walking up to showers. I mean, we're talking about that close range gunfight that the very first one in bathrooms. To me, that's like, I want information. I want to feel. Okay, he actually walks into a frag right there, doing exactly what I was about to say was not necessary. That's it. It's a 4-on-4 trade. Comes out immediately from the Proto. And he finds a little bit of space to work up on this raise. And a nice shot from Aaron, but he falls immediately afterwards to Thief. It's a 3-on-2 XSET. Looking like they might actually get lucky there with a frag sequence that goes their way. Unfortunately for them, it does not happen. Luminosity narrowing it down to a 3-1. And Weeded's going to move over to Heaven and attempt the clutch. Does have smokes, does have paranoia, but, you know, you're looking at 3 to 4 is the scoreline. Plenty of rounds left to play. I wonder if he just saved that. He opts not to either way. Beautiful round from Luminosity.
Yeah. And when you're looking at LG on the map choice that they took here of buying, you do understand why, and you see now the results that pays off, and the practice that they put as this team on this map pays off very well because the frag distribution for this team is even, right? 7 for the two top players, Thief at 6, Mata at 5, and a Proto at 4, where they actually beat T1 13-4 and Endbox 13-8 on this very map. Looking at the open qualifiers last week, they're comfortable in this one too, where as much as we want to say that XSET does have the firepower necessary to bring this to a close game, as a construct unit moving into these execution, Luminosity looks very, very good here so far. And it starts off this round going off the back of an owl drone, 5 players looking to walk up into the site. The good news here for XSET is that they do have 3 ultimates to work with to try to counter any type of aggression from Luminosity, but it's been so passive on this mixed buy that they have. So KZ and Thief are able to move forward all the way towards spawn, and as soon as these smokes dissipate, and we're running through the smoke. Oh, that's timing. Pure allows to get the kill on it to Shaija, but Thief still runs through his own smokes, gets the first kill, but it's quickly traded out. So this broken buy still pays off in their favor just because that timing through the smoke was just enough there to let XSET surprise LG instead of the other way around.
That was the most confusing round I think I've watched today. I'm like
Yeah,
scratching my brain on the analysis here that I could throw out, and I'm just like,
timing.
that was random. Timing. I mean, like, yeah. There was a few moments when it seemed like LG was like, all right, we're just going to retake. It's cool. And then it just didn't turn out that way. XSET had other plans. Some really bold plays. I mean, just walking through that smoke, Pure, finding 2 kills on that round, just impressive stuff. I know we're giving LG a lot of praise. And you mentioned that, and it's not something we haven't mentioned already before, but XSET does have the firepower here to make this close. They do have the skill sets needed to make them competitive on this map against LG. But I think this is what, I mean, like, kind of speaking more to LG now, it's why I found their results from earlier on in this morning, in this tournament today, a little surprising to me, because I do think that they have the caliber and the pedigree to be playing at the highest level in North America, you know what I mean? And I think they're showing that here at times in a big way, especially on a map that they're comfortable on, and certainly are some of the better strats or maybe setups that we've seen from a team on the attack side. I mean, they're putting up 5 rounds here. It's not as though they're blowing out XSET by any means, but I feel like you mentioned it. They're consistently strong on bind, and certainly what they're showing us on their attack looks like they know what they're doing, and it looks like they're very confident with it. So that in and of itself, with the new roster, it's impressive.
The thing is, right now, you did have the ultimate come through on the defender side of XSET, so we didn't see anybody at the fountain, but there's still 2 in hookah. Starting moving forward, that's going to be a touchdown with the rocket. Thankfully, though, immediately traded out by Aaron at the corner of the B cubby, and he goes through the cage for another kill on the Stellar. There's only 16 seconds left. Mata getting the first kill, looking back towards Teleporter because he heard it. He does get the ding through the wall, but not the kill, as Weeded comes in for the save and keeps his teammate alive to make it 5-5. And as we talk about LG, looking good here on the execution on the attacker side, at least XSET are still able to put the fight up because of the way that they're playing with the skill set. The big question mark now is, because this is LG's map pick too, how much stronger are they on the defender side too?
I mean, yet to be seen. I would expect that they're going to be pretty solid on it, right? Like, at least as good as XSET is. But I'll say this in XSET's defense, or maybe in their, speaking to their chances here, is we're seeing Pure, specifically, starting to make some really confident plays, okay? And, like, as far as the XSET team goes, they have players now that are I won't say popping off, necessarily, but certainly are feeling themselves, and they're showing up on the scoreboard in that way. So if this is going to be a different XSET than we saw on Haven, I think we're starting to see it somewhat in the individual plays by some of these players. So I would expect that you know, the Reyna factor to be a pretty significant one in this matchup if it continues to stay this close.
Shadows traveling.
And as we're still watching this matchup here, if you're just tuned in now, it's already a 1-0 series in favor of Luminosity Gaming. So whoever loses this series is actually out of this tournament and unfortunately has to requalify out of the open bracket next week. So it's do or die right now for XSET. And so far, it's due. 3 kills for XSET on this hold for this push for short A. But a Proto is not done yet. He capitalizes on another kill himself, but then Thwifo at least is there on the stack. 3 players on the A side, and already a quick rotation from XSET to give them the lead back finally in this first half, 6-5.
I mean, we can talk about caster curses, okay? Or we could talk about caster blessings. I start to speak about the possibility of Pure continuing to improve and stand out in this half, and he just has a stellar 3K. I shouldn't use that adjective, actually. He's a tremendous 3K over there at short, and it starts with a kill on the KZ. I mean, I think he had an op that round. He may not have, but the kill onto the Jet really starts things off. He's facing immense pressure over at U-Haul, but he stands fast. He's utilizing the Reyna correctly in that instance. Finds 3 kills. And okay, here he is again, spreading things back out to Stellar. Not quite a success, but it's a start. KZ pushing down onto the bomb site. Aaron trades kills. KZ finds another, and now it's a 2-on-2. Chaos has ensued in this round, and I don't even know what's going on, but a Proto has plans to clean it up himself. Throws the hat out, finds the info, and now Weeded is wondering, what's the move here?
So hard. There's still a minute left on the clock, so they could play around with this for the longest time. But it's still going to be Traija that's alive for LG, moving in here with the spike carrier inside that site, but Weeded, after he heard the tremendous footsteps moving forward, big paranoia, but does not connect after the second one, unfortunately, just from the positioning from Traija there to be able to win that trade and now make it 6-6. This is probably as even as you want it to be here, moving into the second half of this matchup here, Lex, where these last 6 rounds of this map determines the fate of XSET in this tournament.
Absolutely, and I think I'll speak to what they're doing right now, which is I'm seeing Aaron, I'm seeing Pure really start to make aggressive plays, put their team in a situation where they're up numbers early on in these rounds, some confident peaks, some confident swings.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't need necessarily every player to be playing out of their minds to find success here in the second map, but I think XSET definitely has at least begun what I wouldn't really call it a comeback at that point, right?
Yeah.
This is 6-6 half, but
And
definitely go ahead.
Yeah, and sorry, I said 6 rounds, but you know, trying to do math on the spot too, but it's like 12 rounds on the half. That's super important for them, so I had to correct myself right away.
Fair enough, man. Yeah. Pistol round coming out, and it looks to be rather a similar play that we saw in the last half. However, they're being contested over there at Octagon. Mata finds one, Thief finds another, but it's a 3-on-3 as the Wifo chains trades it out.
Oh my god!
Satchel's onto the site,
those.
and Aaron deletes Thief. I love watching Satchel plays, but that has got to be so frustrating. Stellar now. Over here it's TT with a Proto, and they both find headshots instantly. A 2-on-2 now. The Wifo confidently swinging wide, but it does not make the difference. Stellar holds strong. 7-6. Pistol going the way of a defensive Luminosity. Wow.
You can't ask for a better pistol that round, Lex. It was like, it had everything. From entries to kills from a Sova dart through smokes to right clicks, gimmickies, jumping it across the site with a satchel charges to get long range right click classic kills on top of that courtesy of Aaron. But then coming it down to a 2 versus 1 where the ghost and the aim has to be crisp and clean on a 2 versus 1. Close range when they're lined up on top of that. But it's still XSET that takes the upper hand in the pistol. That was, LG that takes on the defender's side. It was so close, and it pays off in their favor. And now XSET could be the decision for them here. Or they're going to decide to go for a buy, and it looks like to be the case.
That has paid off for them, I think, in the last map, right? I'm actually not sure. That I might be thinking of something else. Regardless, a Proto now at U-Haul. Forget what I'm saying. That's annoying. Just ignore him. Playing a retake over at A. They're gonna probably concede this bomb plant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think right now, you know, you're waiting for the retake. You know they've forced into this round. This is you have to be so careful as LG. This is very much in XSET's hands to hold on to this U-Haul position, set up a crossfire, and find kills that they normally wouldn't be able to. clinging to that map control is so imperative for the post plant, but Thief has already swung wide, pressing into the bomb site with speed. However, Aaron, Brando, and Weeded each collecting a frag apiece. And now this 5v3 retake is suddenly a 2-on-3 retake.
Everyone's so low.
Thief finds 2. Yeah, this is a scrappy battle to say the very least. Could go anyone's way, but nobody's on the bomb presently. Thief with 4. Can he find the 5th? He does, but it's not enough. LG concedes the force buy to XSET. And Luminosity does clean it up with a clean sweep. 1 alive, that's Thief. And he does have his showstopper, to be fair.
Yep.
So it's not a complete and total loss on the round. But excellent play by XSET. Just a quick A play up short. You know, a likely scenario, especially if you've scattered your opponents appropriately. You know, if you know that they like to play 3 players towards B normally, or at least on ecos, that's what they fear more. Running a set piece right out the gate, even if it's on incomplete info, you know, a lot of times a force buy, there's a little bit more at risk there, right? But in this case, you know, that was a pretty safe execute. They smoked things off. They just sprinted up short, knowing that they would be conceded. And a nice post-plant hold from XSET. Hats off to them.
But you saw the economy, right, for XSET. Despite them winning that round off that spike going off, they lost every single player. That means that every single player only has 3K off that round 1, and it's still going to be a broken buy. LG is going to be low on money as well, so that's the thankful part. But they do have, as you mentioned, a showstopper to work with. I was going to say for LG at that point, maybe stack towards the site. And actually, that's what they're doing. Stacked over towards the site with pistols and play that Spectre with a showstopper solo towards the A side. So that if you actually spot some opponents and get some contention, you could fall back, wait for your teammates to rotate, and you play off the showstopper to try to get some kills and then move in with the classics. But it's going to be the Superman jumps moving forward from the flashback, but still in favor of Thief, as a showstopper unfortunately does not connect onto anybody. And that should be what seals the deal for this round for XSET. He had to come up with a big kill with the showstopper, and it's not going to be the case.
My jaw is on the floor. That showstopper clipped the edge of the wall. It would have been probably at least a 2K, if not a 3K, had it landed. Unfortunate. That said, working this retake, you're looking to get as many kills as possible. A Proto snaps one onto the head of Pure. He falls. He's not able to grab a second one, but any economic damage. There are a few low players here for XSET, so any economic damage that could be done, they're going to look for any chance to build up your ultimate. Never mind. Twifo seals the round. XSET takes the lead, 8-7. There it is. And I think, you know, we're talking about XSET being able to mount a comeback or staying competitive in this game. Suddenly, we need to turn the questions around and start asking LG the same questions that we've been posing to XSET. Yep. You know, this map was not at all a foregone conclusion. And it was totally not predictable when we're looking at halftime 6-6 score. Okay, even if we're talking about pistol rounds, they immediately get forced on and they lose the following round.
So you see where I'm confused, Lex? XSET is blue on the scoreboard, and then now it just switches color. So confusing.
Okay, is that why I've been so confused sometimes?
Yeah,
that would make sense. Okay.
And now it's back to normal now that at mid round. So XSET back in red, and then everything everything's back to normal.
Play the X-Files theme? Go ahead. Okay. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah, and nobody knows the X-Files either because you're talking to a young crowd.
So old.
But Mana is going to hold his ground here towards the elbow. First kill onto Twifo. And again, I think XSET at this point moving into this round, it's a bonus round for them too, right? Because they did have some machine guns to work with into this round. So Mana still, despite all that, doesn't care, pushes forward. And for Luminosity to go for a gun round here versus a bonus versus XSET and get a flawless round, puts them back in a comfortable lead in terms of economy here.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether or not that was a misplaced smoke there over at long, or whether that was intentional. It seemed as though both those players that fell to the Vandal of Mata, I wonder whether or not they were expecting to have some concealment or cover when they were moving out there. And it's unfortunate because that was their bonus round and did not get a single frag on it.
Yep.
Not the end of the world by any means, but you're looking at the buyer right now. You have a Spectre on Aaron. You have light armor on both
shields,
Pure and Twifo, and those are minor details that may actually have some impact on the round, but definitely not where you want to be as far as a comfort level moving into the most important round of this half so far. 8-8, all tied up. First big gun round. Mata's going to connect on the Hunter's Fury, but he does get a kill on a Pure. Excuse me, I was about to call it otherwise. That set a 5-on-4 start for LG. You know, in pregame, or at least maybe in the middle of the series, we were talking a bit about how, or let's back that up. At the beginning of this map, Bach had asked me, you know, what does XSET need to do to find an opening against Luminosity? And my response was something to the effect of shutting down the op of KZ. Now, if you're still finding those entry picks with other players, the Hunter's Fury, whatever, makes it so difficult. That said, Aaron has the Sova fleeing at full speed. It's not going to be enough monofalls. He finds 2, though. This is a 2-on-3 now. XSET lacking the advantage, lacking a bomb plant, and taking a ton of damage from paint shells is Aaron. Thief with 4 huge frags to close out that round. Wow. Impressive stuff from him. And I gotta tell you, that Sova trying to B-hop away and failing was one of the more satisfying chase sequences that I've ever seen. Well done. Not enough, though.
He almost got a kill. Mano almost got that frag onto Aaron before the rocket went off. And it could have been like what could seal the deal even more there for LG for the retake onto the side. Thief, a big 4K, definitely holds his ground for the defender side here for Luminosity, and they take the lead into this matchup after, again, their money is right and the money stays broken for XSET in the past few rounds. So you're trying to figure out, at this point, a force buy from XSET on that second round. Has it become a deterrence on their side in terms of managing their economy for the rest of this half so far? And it seems as though the answer could be yes, because they don't have anything else to like try to play a take towards the site after getting entries like a showstopper in there. But Aaron showing, just like he did on Twitter before, how good he could be with a Spectre. Could actually win pulse range versus a Phantom versus a Vandal. Makes it a 5-on-4, but it gets immediately traded off on a 4v4. People went through the teleporter. It's an open site, but it's a flank also coming in here from Thief at the same time. And he's done it before. He's looking to do it again. We're going to have Mana trying to sell that fake, have people focus towards the back of the site, towards the spawn first, and here comes Thief. There's that kill. The spike is down. Mana did die from a shotgun from Brando, but that's good enough because now the hat's going to come out too, and now they spot the last. Thief moving forward. That's a showstopper. That's going to end the life of Aaron and the wall bang on the last one. And that's it. LG looking good right now here on the defender side.
Yeah, they're looking real comfortable. You know, something about that round that kind of does bother me because I see it so often. There's an assumption, I think, when you are like taking the TP over to B, you know what I mean? Like when you're taking the TP and you leave a lurker over there at short, the amount of times that I see people getting caught out by that. Yeah. Like most players that I know at this level, like know how to count and they have a good idea of how many people are up short. And I'm not saying that that was a bad play by them, but it's one of those like open-ended questions of like, what if you had just gone with your team, had somebody extra there to trade it out? And I think like in contrast, well, here's some early frags coming out from LG. That's a good start to the round. Especially considering the fact that like this is a buy round for XSET. This is a round where they're hoping to like work it kind of slow. Instead, LG takes the aggression to them, and that's a nice shot from Pure to bring it back in their favor a bit, but still a 3-on-4 situation here for XSET. Spike is on Brando here over at the mid-market area, but no real map control gained yet. I take that back. Push into...
Oh boy.
A Proto sprang through that cage, collects one into Thwifo. Yeah, you really hate to see that. That stings. You didn't really lose a gunfight there. You just lost at something. The luck game, I don't know.
You saw from both of these teams, though, how much you wanted to do map control, especially for Luminosity at the beginning of this round and how it finished. Because LG, to start things off, they went for a Sova Dart towards the B ramp at Hookah from Market, and also throwing out a Boombot down that ramp. So from that and a couple of players being pinged, they wide swung and wallbang and got possession of that area. After the action has calmed down, as they've given up the Octagon side, they do lose a player from the Reyna Pure trying to move forward towards that Octagon side. But then after that, they still had 2 players alive towards the A side, where you saw a nice combination of a Paranoia from short A, where they're playing at towels, into the showers, and have the Cypher move in for that kill. So just Luminosity on gaining map control. Yes, they lost towards long B, but they've gained towards short, they've gained towards shower, and they've gained towards Hookah, which made it impossible for XSET to get something done here on the attacker side. So you're looking and you're asking how prepared Luminosity is on defender side. That's one of the examples.
And there is a raised flank already coming through short.
I know exactly.
There is a contest over there at U-Haul, but it goes the way of LG. The flank comes in. This round is blown up. XSET does manage to find a kill over there at Showers, but you know, at this point, you have a player walked up short A. They know they're there, and I wonder if this is an overextension from Thief, and it is. Wow, getting that kill really is not good, and the fact of the matter is, this is a one-on-one and a winnable round for Brando. Suddenly, I was about to heap praises onto LG for staying disciplined in that situation, and unfortunately, getting a little greedy. You know, I won't call it all out, just disregard for your team's success, but that was, I'm smelling eco frags. I'm going to walk up short and get another one. At the very beginning of the round, and I'll say this, though, Luminosity, again, is just walking out of hookah down towards mid at the beginning of the round, okay? So, like, they had the info very early on here that XSET was definitely going to be going A. And unfortunately, we're now looking at a 1v1 with the bombs going down at B, and KZ is nowhere to be found. The fact that this round is in this close with both players on 1 HP, to me, is I won't say unforgivable, but I'll say it's astounding. Because this was not XSET's round to win at all.
Sometimes when you want to try to seal the deal, you're a little bit jumping the gun. You're jumping the gun a little bit too early on really trying to close down this series. And even then, Brando had 25 HP versus Shaija that had 100, and he's lurking up here. Gonna be an easy kill. Well, very nice play by Brando, and that's off the costly mistake of how LG just wanted to push against them and just try to continue to add that pressure against XSET with the way they've been playing on the defender side so far, getting 4 rounds in a row, trying to break the morale even. That would have been map point and series point as well for Luminosity, where XSET would be on a broken buy on like some sort of a save at that point too, because look at their buy now. I think Brando could drop a weapon for Pure and Pure could go for full shield. I think that would be the better play. Even if Pure is a Reyna, he could go for a Devour. It doesn't matter. I think you should still drop the weapon here for Pure instead. But I do like the fact that they capitalize on the mistakes of LG pushing forward. And that was off a nice lucky thing to start things off, though, versus KZ that had full HP and still win that 3 versus 1.
Now, wait a second. I think... Okay, no. I thought the Cypher had already walked through Showers, but LG has... You know, I just mentioned it, but the past several rounds gotten aggressive and had a lot of intel on where the enemy team is attacking and where they are on the map.
He did walk through.
And they have it here, too. Yeah. He has eventually walked through, but a Proto already knows that they're all B, pretty much. And he's gonna bide his time over there, probably waiting for the possibility of a TP. Oh my goodness, the spam almost connects completely. KZ getting melted inside the tube. That tuna can.
Shadows traveling.
But
you like that call, right? My tuna can?
I got that from you. On a tuna?
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I say you like that tuna can. I got it from Siva.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, nonetheless, though, here comes the execution inside that site. Thief gets the first kill in the first blood, but Purin and Aaron, they're not done with the fight yet. Shaija still alive, 8 HP, traded off by Brando and executed from Octagon, and that allows them on a 1-man advantage to try to take the site, but a wallbang connects onto Aaron. It's a 2v2. Thankfully, one of them was low on HP, but now Cypher's low on HP too, still manages to get the kill. A 2 versus 1. The first spray coming up forward from a Proto. They know that he's coming from hookah, so they're just sending up the crossfire. You don't have to peek at the fight. You're just going to wait for the audible cues to come in, but a Proto is using the jumps down. The tic-tac-toe crosshair, aiming down towards the garden, and Thwyfel stops him in his tracks. XSET makes it a 1-point game.
Almost. And this is why I was being a hypercritical caster for a minute there on the aggression in a 5-on or a 4-on-2 or whatever it was on the anti-eco. Because now, you know, instead of being up like, I don't know, 12-8 or 12-9 if you lost the gun round, you are 11-10. And your economy's okay. I think they're going to get a full buy here, right? Yeah. So it's not as though it's all gloom and doom, but you've set yourself in a situation where XSET has a lot of confidence and momentum. They have an ultimate to work with this raise. The fact that they haven't put this away yet is kind of scary. So for XSET, I'm anxious to see what defensive... Wait a second.
You see what I do with the crosshair?
Yeah. Why? Unreal, man. KZ finally wanted to Pure. I just love that. I thought I was imagining that, Vance. Like that. Chad has no idea what we're talking about. That's okay.
They'll know. We explained it before.
They'll figure it out. Yeah.
But at least this push works out for a kill for LG on the defender side.
Yeah, I mean, the other side of this though is like the defensive actions of LG thus far. I mean, it's not always yielding a kill, but just getting aggressive and being willing to make the play that they just did speaks volumes to their comfort, I think, on mine, especially defensively. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God!
2 with the showstopper. Mata is pressed against the back of the site with low HP. I don't think he's going to be able to grab another one. He won't. And suddenly, XSET with a Hail Mary, almost literally coming out towards elbow, and I don't even think he saw the second player, but it connects regardless. And a Proto is not counting him out yet, actually. This is a very winnable situation for LG despite what just transpired, especially when they know they're both there. The hat goes out, the call comes in, spam comes through, it connects, a Proto falls, and now it's just Stellar in a 1-on-2. I'm not sure if this is possible now, especially
Nope, not with that.
with appropriate util being utilized. But technically does have time. Definitely was possible. Brando smartly denying him the opportunity, pushes through that Omen. Omen smoke and finds the kill. 11-11 all tied up, and suddenly the caster who sounded whiny talking about the Antico getting blown is gonna whine about it again. How did this happen? 11-11, XSET proving me wrong. Look at him go. But you can't help but imagine maybe if the gifts weren't being given from LG, this would be put away by now. I can't fault Thief, though, actually, now that I'm looking at the scoreboard. He was hurt hunting for the 30 bomb. And I feel like as a teammate, that's the most easy thing to forgive. If you're going for an ace for your 30, you know what, man? I don't care if the match is on the line. You go for it. You follow your dream.
But you saw there the execution from XSET. It goes back to the days, as I mentioned before, of Aaron when he played for Echo 8. It doesn't matter if it was 6 months ago. He's still moving in with the showstopper to get the entries for that 2K. So they're really playing with off that raise once he gets the showstopper. But a nice op from Twifo evens things up early in this round in a 4 versus 4. Thief looking for a rocket kill himself. Did he just use it to break the trapwire?
I think he thought somebody was close on him, but I think so, yes.
But still, the action happening towards the A side, it's traded off. We're still trying to get the spike plan here towards the A side, and after that neural theft, that seals the deal to allow XSET to go for a plant, and possibly with the last 2 players, because they're on a broken buy. I think one of them does have a rifle. Yamada does have a Phantom. If right now towards Heaven's side, we don't get a kill right away from the raise, you could definitely see the Phantom saving his weapon into the next one so he could drop it to one of his teammates. But now it's going to have to come down to Thief with that Sheriff on the top of a Heaven. But you see it from XSET on a pulse plant. Nobody's peeking out. They don't care that these guys are they're allowing them to get the spike tap at least onto it. They could just run out right after. Matadol capitalizes on a kill onto Brando. It's a 2 versus 2. Oh my god, the lineup comes forward. And now it's a 1 versus 1, but Mata is on a big flank. So they won't get this round. XSET gets map point.
I'll be honest, I wasn't looking at the mini-map, and I'm not really sure what Mata's position was, but the fact that lineup over there at Showers almost went the way of LG, and that round almost got put away. Yeah. I wonder if he had pushed a site and been tapping bomb with him. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but regardless, I mean, XSET now set on map point, and this was LG's game in the bag. What was it? 5 rounds ago?
Yep.
6 rounds ago. It looked like LG was at 11-8, I think, and gonna put her away. Yep. Here we are, 12-11. The comeback is absolutely real. Securing at least OT is XSET. KZ looking to make an entry here. Gonna drop the Sova drone, but immediately stalling their push is XSET. Just wants to chill out. See if there's any reaction on the other side of the map from LG. As I mentioned a few times throughout this half, is LG has been uncharacteristically...
Oh my god.
Beautiful through the cage. Shot onto Thwifo. KZ. Lord. Nice shot, man.
That's one of those things when, you know, when you're playing Counter-Strike and you're being flashed as an opper and you count 1, 2, 3 and you shoot. That's literally what just happened there. A cage forcing the Cypher to try to look for better cover, and then you just count 1, 2, boom, you land that shot. Now that means the execution from XSET is coming towards the B side, and it's Aaron that still opens it up. So despite them winning that round, they still had low money. They had one of the players with nothing to go, and we're looking into overtime at this point.
Nice kills coming out from everybody on LG. Just seemed like perfect timing where they're all pushing through smokes. They're all peeking together at the same time when the execute comes out. That was actually that was the cleanest round I think LG has had on a site hold, at least with the momentum that XSET had going into it, it seemed like it was a very impactful moment. Obviously, it pushes to OT, but I think that's pretty telling for the fact that LG is still very much ready to win this game. Just a few slip-ups. Mistakes on their end are warranting how close this game is. And I think that the threat now and the fear is, if you're LG, is that, XSET has clearly shown that they're going to be playing a little bit better than they have been. A few of those players have stepped up with some excellent plays. But, do you combine that with your mistakes and lose the map? Or do you recover an OT and seal the deal? And this is really what we're going to be watching here moving forward.
Definitely. And now we're fighting for both ends here towards hookah control. Boombots from both areas. And Sova drones from both teams as well. Big hits. Paint shells coming out and a paranoia counter. So that's where finally the difference comes forward. But still, we're on a stalemate for the control towards his B side. Unfortunately, the satchel charge misses, so he eats a first shock dart from Aaron. Spots 2 more towards long B as he falls back towards that site. So the rotation's going to come through, but Thief still gets the opener on the Cure.
Wow, 2 huge kills coming out from Brando. They were not sure if there was anybody there, but it definitely seemed as though when Thief jumped up onto that box, or sorry, I think that was, may have been Thief, yeah. Was so certain that the other player was on site. Not the case. Brando with a third of the round on the Stellar. And this round started out with, LG contesting the hookah hold. They even find the first entry. XSET very clearly and very quickly recovering here. I wonder whether or not, we're talking about the defensive
30 seconds left.
I'll say shortcomings of LG in that second half. They obviously brought it together at the end, but I wonder if XSET has finally caught on to what was giving them some difficulty earlier on in this game, where LG almost always had the read and had the rotations in the right spots. The difference seems to be that XSET is very much so willing to play together now, instead of the slow kind of spread defaults that we were seeing on Haven and earlier on in this game.
Match point.
So, I mean, the fact they're switching over to attack now, and they've had a ton of success here, this is scary for LG, man, silly.
100%. And I even think of that round, the last one was a big play, definitely from a 3K from Brando, but also a very costly mistake from LG. Because remember when LG at some point finally got control of hookah, you remember Shaija had the Vandal and was spraying through the boxes just to make sure to see if anybody was holding that angle. But this time to take control, it's a 5 versus 5. They don't check the corner, and that allows Brando to get 2 kills earlier on, and then the third in the end, dancing through the smoke. So that could be a momentum breaker for LG. But thankfully, they take the defender side for this round. I forgot to look at the scoreboard to see if we actually have a glass cannon. We don't have a glass cannon, so it's still going to be a full rifle round, all Vandals for LG, which I do like this choice too. Especially on a map like Bind for me, going for taps inside the site of B side into window side, it's just fun to have those fights against your opponents instead of the Phantoms. But here comes the execution from XSET inside this A site. They will be able to walk in as the pulse comes in from the recon dart. Thief still tries to bring the surprise factor, but he gets punished. Same thing for Aaron, going on top of the APC. Stellar takes him down. Spike has now been planted. Swyfo trying to fight with the rest of his teams to bring this to a third map. But Luminosity Gaming answers back and takes the lead in terms of manpower on this retake. They continue with another kill. Swyfo's holding his ground towards the U-shaped hallway with this teammate as well with Brando. They're tapping on this spike. The spray comes through the smoke. Brando's again on his own looking to clutch, but Mata sprays back through the smoke, and we will have LG bring this to another overtime.
XSET strategically making some good calls there. They get onto site, they claim U-Haul. It really is looking scary for LG for just a moment. We even saw Thief walk through a couple smokes and cages trying to get a cheeky kill into a plant. Didn't go his way, and unfortunately, and this is one of those moments where I gotta say it, like that jump onto APC was entirely, wholly, completely unnecessary. And at that point, it was totally possible for LG to win that round once he made that move. I was almost shocked to see it happen. Then again, I'll say this is people do make mistakes, and certainly maybe it was a bad read, but the fact that LG came in and hit all their shots is a good omen moving through the rest of this OT, because it really seemed like XSET has had the hot hands in the last 10 rounds or so. For them to step back up and almost wake back up in this series makes me think that LG is definitely not out of this yet. At least emotionally, mentally speaking, the strategy coming out from them, I'm sure will be altered somewhat from the previous OT and maybe the half prior, but relying a lot of the times at these B hits, see if it works.
Yeah, and you're talking about these B hits, but XSET, that only has one player there, and that's Brando, while they have a 4-man stack towards A with the camera. And that execution comes in. Brando, he's in a position right now where if he wants to push through the smoke, he has to come up with a kill. But he does the smarter choice to fall back and wait for a rotation from his teammates to come, and they can play the retake into this B site. Mata is only starting to plant now, and the rotation already came through. So that was the perfect play. Now can they hold it for LG on this pulse plan? Big paranoia, one pushing through, but it's still going to be Twyfo close range against the kill. But the Hunter's Fury comes out, and Mata does not get any out of that. Off the elbow, still does not get a kill. How is that? How does that happen? You got to be lucky here and counting your stars for XSET. Now we're going forward for the retake, but a recon guard does enough. A Proto and Stellar staying alive. XSET on his own with Twyfo, but it's still going to be Stellar with a 3rd kill into this round, giving a lead back here for Luminosity Gaming. So now inside the chat here, Lex, we want the hashtag LG Loyals. We want the hashtag rep the set. We want this matchup to continue to remain close.
Man, LG, obviously, I was just talking and speaking to strategy, right? Like just the overall approach to these rounds has at different times throughout the series kind of changed pace and changed directions, of course. But I think, you know, they had no information. They didn't know for certain that there was only Brando over there at B, but you hit the nail on the head. The fact of the matter is the 4-man stack towards A. I mean, the retake was that there. It was a decent attempt, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was just not. I mean, retaking B 5-on-5 is so tough, and LG holds strong, hits their shots in a time when they really can't afford to be making mistakes. XSET, kind of like you mentioned, needed to get a little lucky there. That said, moving over to the defensive side, LG's facing pressure in the exact same way. B side is now getting pushed hard. Weeded finds one into a Proto. Aaron finds one into Stellar. 5-on-3. I'm sure to go down here in just a moment. But there are still 2 players over here at Elbow. There's a significant presence of LG players over here since, I think, the beginning of the round. So all 3 players are ready to retake, and it's just a matter of waiting for the right moment. And I don't see a way for LG to get into this bomb site, but here it is. Retake coming in now. KZ presses forward. Twyfo and Aaron hold strong. Now it's just Mata in a 1-on-5. And this matchup just won't quit.
Switching sides.
Man, we love it. We love it for the way it is, man. I think when you're looking back on how the defender side has been played for both of these teams on the B site, I think in terms of kits, XSET played that fairly well on the attacker side, but I think LG did a great job as well. From the Owl drone from Mata going out towards elbow and spawning 2 players and going with shark darts, that's already good information and allowing his teammates to come back and get the frags. And where I think it was a little bit short for XSET was the round that they lost was because nobody shot down their recon dart towards the B side either. And that allowed LG to win that round. This round, though, XSET going for a different type of strategy once again. Instead of going for a 4-man stack towards A, they went for a 3-man push down towards B, and they already lose 2 players at the beginning of the round. So now it comes down to a half HP Omen, forcing to fall back inside the site. The paranoia to come through, but they're still looking at this angle where Aaron is currently holding. But are they going to walk into this? They're not. They're falling back because a spike has been dropped intentionally for them to just play the pick game to start things off for LG. They pick it up and they walk back towards the A side where you only have 1 player playing there. Thankfully, the camera's out, so they won't be able to hear it. Now it gets shot off, but Twyfo gets enough information. He's trying to play through the cage, but it unfortunately
LG
cannot
goes
get the spray.
LG goes B.
Yeah, Shai's just inside the site.
Timing was so close. He still has no idea that he's behind him.
3. My ult's ready.
I can't believe it. I thought we saw him. He did not.
Player remaining.
And this is LG's round through and through. Nice read by them, and I will call it bold, right, or maybe brave
Switching
for
sides.
KZ to be like
Match
sitting
point.
in that Omen smoke for a moment. But he must have heard footsteps. You know, the observer wasn't on it, and it's okay. But that read was just so bizarre to me that you know, Weeded is that close to long with no info and sprints off or whatever just happened. The fact is, KZ immediately makes the perfect call at the perfect time. Like, yo, B site's clear, he's leaving. And
That's
it
the
was
tough part,
almost a bit too far up short for LG to even turn around. Obviously the teleporter's there, but that would have instantly given up the play. The fact of the matter is they had no idea that LG wasn't already up near U-Haul. They weren't already up pressing up towards the A-bomb site, and it cost them there. LG now looking to take this series in this round.
Well, the camera spots a Proto at least. He's stuck inside the corner. He's being tagged the whole time, and he's going to remove that dart. But they do have an ace under their sleeve for LG. We're going for a glass cannon with the operator from Kshaisha as well as they take control of Fountain. They know the attack is eventually going to happen towards the A side, so the rotation's going to come back, but he has to come back quick. But unfortunately, Stellar falls. They know that Proto's still stuck in the corner as he pushes forward. Dwarfel gets the second kill. We talked about a numbers game that allowed these rotations to happen for LG on that previous round. This time, it's in favor of XSET. But with the number advantage that they have, they fully commit for a plant inside the A site, where we did also made it for a shadow step on the top of heaven. Just like that, a trade of kills happen. Oh, but unfortunately, Weeded looks and clears the wrong angle, pushing towards that site. He gets information from one player, but he doesn't know that both of them are up towards heaven. So Kshaisha again with his glass cannon and his teammate only as a Sova. They don't really have much in terms of kits for the retake. They might want to wait for the recon dart to come out too, but it's 30 seconds down. And now they're looking for the spike, the fuse, and unfortunately on the attacker side, XSET does have one of their own, and that clock is going to go off. The round is going to come in for XSET, but a nice shot from Kshaisha is going to say, look, we'll see you into the next overtime here as we're tied up 15-15.
Switching sides. Overtime.
Another OT it is then. I am a little... Do I sound excited by that? I'm just
I was like, oh,
LG keeps putting themselves. LG keeps putting themselves in situations to win, and then this is why I kind of sound frustrated. I'm sure is what that bathroom setup. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand the boldness, right, to stay in that position and fake like you left with the cage. And speaking about Protoss play there, but man, that is like the tightest, most dangerous place to get stuck in if you're facing, I don't know, two players that are pushing you, even if it is an arena. And so I won't be hypercritical of maybe his play, but wow, that was a really not a good setup at A. I mean, if only because they were going to use utility on you to clear you out regardless, right? You knew that. And here it is, 5v4. Is XSET going to push this to 16? Just found the first frag. And Luminosity, I won't say that they're slipping here, but that is it's concerning. Like, is this a defensive shortcoming of this LG side? I will say this, though. Part of what I counted on for success for LG was a dominant op from KZ on defense. And obviously, like, we haven't seen him using it very often. And an OT here, he hasn't had an opportunity to put it into play, more or less. But mechanically speaking, and depending on who's hitting their shots, it really seems like XSET has woken up. And not just Pure. I know I've been talking about him a lot. But all of these players on XSET have had moments where LG
30 seconds left.
Looks like they have everything under control. And it just gets ripped away by some nice shots from XSET. And this round is no exception. 5-on-1. Stellar is surely not going to put a bomb or a spike down in the next 20 seconds.
Yeah, especially on a 5 versus 1. I think it's pretty much done deal. Stellar does get one kill, but that's it. So XSET back in the lead. And you know, Lex, when you're looking from a point of view of the cameraman watching
Switching
this matchup,
sides.
every time you switch
Match
over
point.
to an LG player and they die instantly, you know how on lock and on point XSET has been on that hold on the defender side. And where they had some success by exploding towards the B side maybe 1 or 2 OTs ago, they're looking to do the same thing again. So we'll have to see this time for XSET. Is it going to be Aaron just blast packing into the site, keeping his foes focused on him while the rest of them can move out towards the split on this B side to win? Well, as I try to say that, it seems as though XSET decides to go for a surprise push towards the A side instead.
Just looking at the scoreboard here, man, like there's a pretty even distribution on the side of XSET.
Oh, yeah.
And I mentioned earlier just the 30 bomb on Thief. He's been relatively quiet ever since I brought that up, and that may be Caster's curse. But the fact is, like, he finished, I think, the half at 28, 27.
You called him 27,
like
28, he's 32 now, yeah.
So, I mean, I won't say that it's somehow his fault or reason that they're losing or whatever, but it definitely seems that, at least on the A side of the map here for LG, on the defensive side, they're struggling. And XSET is exploiting it every single time. And I wonder whether or not, you know, defensively speaking, this composition, they like run out of ideas, or maybe that's why they tried that bathroom setup that I was a little critical of a few rounds ago.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can't play the same look every round for sure, right? That's kind of common sense. But changing things up, especially when we're 31 rounds completed into this map so far, it's difficult to find things to surprise your opponents with. And even if you've like somehow conditioned them to be playing a certain way against you, you know, anything can happen in this OT. And I think we've seen it a few times now where players are willing to get super aggressive and fast flank or walk down short. We've seen operators. We've seen people willing to take those risks, but just hasn't panned out on the side of LG. And XSET looks locked in.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, especially up around, I wonder whether LG even has a shot at pushing this to another OT, Vansily.
Yeah, and now, as you mentioned, 31 rounds in, you're trying to figure out, okay, let's calm things down once again in another situation where we're casting another OT at this point, Lex. And I was talking to the admins while we were on break before. They do allow 1 minute and 30 seconds for timeout for the game right now for either team. So they could definitely use this advantage right now just to calm the mindset of XSET at this point, because they've realized how, you know, they're getting openings. They're able to get these entries into the A side as much as they can towards the A side or B side, to be fair. I think LG has done a good job to punish XSET on the way that they've been playing, though. For example, when they had the entry towards the A site and they had the spike plan towards the APC, you saw Aaron go for a blast pack on the top of the APC. Should they have played a little bit more passively or more conservatively, we probably would have been moving over to the third map already. And as we wasted a lot of time here on this timeout, as we resume the action, they are going to work back towards this B side, where, as I mentioned before, they had a 5-man take inside, a 5-man post-plan situation in OT for XSET for one of these overtimes. And they're trying their way again, and it starts off very well. Weeded is going to be able to take down Thief. Cyber Cages are coming up. A Proto with a nice camera is going to spot a lot and could see that nobody has really made it inside the site yet. But here comes the satchel charges. Mana covering his teammates back of a Proto, and he gets 2 kills of his own. This now could be another OT moving forward. He gets a hat trick. A Proto draws the spike carrier. It's all up to Twyfo, and Shaija seals the deal for another overtime, 16-16.
Mata going huge.
Overtime.
Oh my goodness. A Proto's bunny hopping around while scan dart on him, jumping back and forth, trying to figure out where people are pushing him from. And the best part about that is he's like pulling the dart out, getting scanned constantly, and every player that turned and faced him faced a Vandal round coming out from Mata. And at the end of the day, you're swinging on what you think is an absolute free kill on a Proto, and unfortunately for them, they just get shut down. Excellent teamwork from LG. And just as I sit here and talk as though LG has somehow run out of options, they get it done. 16-16, moving over to the attack side. This is the big question mark for me, though, is you know, is it even possible to go up in one round again and repeat this all over? Are we going to see 4 OTs, Vansily? Nice damage. Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Nice shot.
That was sick by Pure. The wall bang, low HP on the Shaija, gets the first headshot, then the second one onto Shaija after. But the thing is, if they actually make it and kill him and move inside that site, you still had one player playing on the top of the boxes on the right side to play that fake. What a perfect set for XSET, no pun intended, and the bait and switch to be able to win those rounds, but the bait wasn't even needed. Pure just landed those shots. That was
just, yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's been playing so good in this map, but that was in an unprecedented series of frags. I mean, just pure confidence, right? Like, you're sitting there knowing that you're dialed in, you're locked in, you're hitting everything that you're shooting. Like, it's just one of those, hey, I'm going to re-peek you. And the fact that he hit both headshots just deleted them. Not only does that increase your prospects of winning the particular round significantly, of course, but it also, like, just, I can't see XSET not being super hyped right now. I can't see a world in which, you know, they might be calm, but these guys are, like, ready to win this map. They're not giving up. And that's so tough to beat if you're LG, especially if you've already lost your momentum in this game. And so XSET moving for a fast A play. This is interesting, Vansily.
Yeah, but they have two players playing inside showers. So far, LG has done perfect in terms of how they wanted to stack the sites. But we're taking TP towards B, but there's still a fight from Thief. He does not get a kill, unfortunately. So that's an open site moving in there. The camera could spot them all. And there you go, spots one, tags one. A Proto, and let's two headshots looking for the third, but it's traded off by Pure. This fight will now be planted. It's a 3 versus 3. The teleportation is coming through from the attacker as well. All the rotations coming in from Luminosity at the spawn side. Recon Guard could spot them inside, but they haven't pinged anybody out. Finally, they do so for one, as Swifo is trying to move forward on his post plan. He knows that they've pressed inside the site. Aaron playing towards the garden. It's traded out by Shaija. Then Pure puts a 1-man advantage and also map point for XSET, leaving Amada on his own. And press to pop out. He's looking for that 1 versus 1 first inside the garden, but Aaron says no. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going into a third map.
Wow. What a finish. I mean, at no point throughout the first half and even in the first few rounds of the second half was I sitting here like thinking XSET's definitely going to win this in like triple OT. And I don't say that just because it wasn't possible, but they just weren't playing like a team that was going to close out a map 2 and push it to a third map against LG, despite the scoreline being relatively close. So, I mean, Vansilli, that was a heck of a match. And even in that last round of Proto connecting those 2 headshots, almost getting the third, that could have gone another OT, and that would have been terrifying because, I mean, this team, XSET, is starting to heat up in a way that we haven't seen them so far in this series. I hope that they can carry that momentum over to map 3 and give us another entertaining show. But I will say that LG lost that map, not necessarily because of tremendous play or whatever, or like a lackluster performance out of anyone in particular, but because of their own mistakes, like you said, and getting greedy for ecos or whatever we want to talk about it and put it into actual context for what the match was. I'll say this: those situations do happen, and what's the worst part about it isn't necessarily the fact that you lost the round and you had to eco. It's that you failed, and you know that you're the reason that your team just lost a 3-round slide and suddenly it's 11-11. And I'm not saying that in any way to somehow pin it on one particular player or anything, especially when Thief was playing so well. But we saw him get so quiet afterwards in terms of his fragging and his gunfights. And I gotta wonder whether or not that's like the back of your mind guilt of like, oh my gosh, like I threw us that round and suddenly we're in OT. We should not be here. Should have won this 13-8. And that's just frustration. That's momentum. That's the beauty of esports, man.
I think despite that, whether you call it a mistake from one particular player, as a unit in themselves, though, for LG, you saw that they still fought tooth and nail. We went into a quintuple overtime. So as a team, they probably accepted the mistake as a team, and they're going to rise together as a team as well. And we saw a beautiful overtime on this second map. And we talked about it. It was 6-6 on that half. And we're like, these next 6 rounds that I had made the mistake counting live, it came down to be the 12 rounds. It came down to be way more than 12 rounds to determine the fate of XSET. And XSET stays alive, and we will be back after the break for the last and final map to see who's going home and who's moving forward.